sex and relationships was like the wild card in my life. I always dated, but I didn't really want to commit. And I've never thought of myself as a monogamous person. And I thought, what is the deal with sex and relationships and why they seem so complicated? And half of them end in divorce. And by the way, the sex I'm having is okay, not great. I'm also an overachiever, but everyone was like, my sex was amazing last night. I was like, what does that mean? So I was always asking people, when you say you had amazing sex, back up. Like, what did that mean? Like, was his penis double jointed? Were you swinging from the rafters? Were you like, what? Were you having 16 orgasms? And I always wanted to know. So I thought, I'm going to do a show about sex in San Francisco. So I had an intern for my film and we started doing this show. And then she said to me, you should do, she goes, you know what? Maybe you should try a podcast. I'm like, what the hell's a podcast? This is 2005. She goes, well, it's only audio and you just need to record files and you don't need video. I'm like, thank God, because video is harder. And I'm like, let's do that. So that's where the Sex with Emily started. And I invited a bunch of friends over to my house from in different stages of relationships and dating and love and gender orientations and sexualities. And I interviewed them all day. So like, this is where the change happened. I sat there for like 5 hours. I hired a sound guy off Craigslist and I just sort of talked. And I realized that the conversation that was coming out was about people being really open and real and authentic about they didn't really understand their bodies and their sexuality. They were sort of on a journey and everyone was on a different path. But the common theme, everyone was like, they didn't really know what good, great sex was. They didn't really know about relationships in the way that I needed to hear. We were all trying to figure it out. And I thought, there's really nowhere else to go for this information. And I sat there, it was almost like akin to what people say when they love at first sight or they fall in love or they knew the moment I saw it. I knew this was my path. In that moment and that day, I thought, this is what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. Because remember, I'd been on this path, like pivoting when it didn't work. I was like, that was work, that didn't work. And I'm like, this is it. This is a dialogue and this is a conversation that's going to change people's lives because no one's talking about it. And I was so, like, I remember I want to be in, I was like, there's so much to learn, there's so much to unpack. And I just read every sex book on the planet and I started going deep into podcasting. And every week I released a podcast and I interviewed people and that's where that all started.